Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective, and I've got with me one of my sisters in cinema. We got Becky, and we are back for award season 2026. So excited. So excited to be back. We are so back. And I mean, aside from us doing sibling scream all year, like we've been obviously talking about some of our favorite films just in general, like what we've just loved this year. And this year's Oscars race, award season race, is pretty. Like we were just talking about it right before we started, like unpredictable. Like last year, we felt like there were some like very clear winners. Like we both pegged Flow right from the beginning to win animated, and like it did. I was shocked that it even got international
hmm
nomination last year. Like that was a feat all in itself. The little engine that could. But this year is quite the battle, if you will. Maybe one right after another, could be involving some sinners, maybe some sentimental value. Um, right? But like it. So without further ado, Becky, how
Yeah,
excited are you to be back?
I'm very excited. I love talking about movies in general, but award season is my favorite season. To quote the late and great Catherine O'Hara, Moira Rose, award season is the best season. So I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
It always welcome. When we were doing Sibling Scream and we were wrapping that up, it was one thing I was like, oh yeah, and then award season, and you were like, we're getting back together, right? Like to do this, and I was like, yes, yes, we are. Yes, I've got my partner in crime, and I mean, this is just something that we've done all year, even last year and stuff, of just talking about some of our favorite movies. But something that we did talk about last year off the pod about what we wanted to try and do a little bit this year is, for lack of a better term, figure out some of the politics behind award season, because you always hear everybody, for your, if you're an individual actor, whatever, writer, whatever, there's always the award season campaign. And so
Yes.
what is that? Do Is there a way to kind of track that trajectory through certain wins throughout the year? Obviously, we have already had the Golden Globes. Depending on when we actually get this dropped, but today we are recording this on February 8th. So on February 7th, last night they had the DGA Awards, and a big predictor of who's going to win the best director Oscar is who ends up winning best uh that best director award at the DGAs. And there's, of course, in the history of the DGA, since like going back to like 1968, maybe even further than that, there's only been 8 differences between the winner of the DGA and who would eventually go on to win the Oscar, which is just crazy. It's like that's pretty good, like lineup there.
Is it?
And last night, one it's a big win for people who want Paul Thomas Anderson, and one battle after another to continue the battle in a lot of ways against Sinners. And they're both the highest. I mean, Sinners, I know, got 16 Oscar nominations. One battle after another, I think, ended up with like 14 or 13
I
itself.
believe 13. Hmm.
So, like, I mean, to say that they're not some of the best, like two of the best movies that we've gotten this year, it would be like a lie. Because they are. They're two of the best movies, two of the most entertaining movies that we've had. But when it comes to the politics of it all, the DGA gave their win to Paul Thomas Anderson. So how do you feel? How do you feel about PTA winning that? And how do you feel now, just with the little bit of history that like we have here in our notes of how DGA goes on to like possibly predict the Oscar for Best Director? How do you feel about that? With PTA and his win.
For me, this is kind of interesting because I'm still somewhat of a novice when it comes to studying all of the award shows and how they measure up to what ultimately is the winner at the I'm on one hand, I'm not shocked that Paul Thomas Anderson took it. He's kind of been sweeping a little bit. I think it's a battle between my head and my heart because I did think Sinners was not without flaw.
Mhm.
But we can get into that further on into this podcast. Um, and it's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's such an important time in history, especially given the state of everything that's happening in the country and, in general, movies that are directed by people of color with an entire cast of, people of color. It just makes me really, really happy that they're getting recognized and to be nominated for, to, you know, it's the world record, right? They've set the record for most
Yes.
nominations. That in
Mhm.
itself is a huge accomplishment. So even if they don't take home, or even if Coogler doesn't take home the win,
Mhm.
I think that this is a huge step forward. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no deny. Even Jordan Peele
Yeah.
winning the Best Original Oscar screenplay for his debut of Get Out, which don't get me wrong, I love Del Toro. Shape of Water is great. I think everybody believes it in their hearts that Guillermo del Toro's true masterpiece is Pan's Labyrinth, and I'm not here to argue with anybody about that. Pan's Labyrinth is a beautiful film, but the Oscars weren't ready to do what they did for director Bong with Parasite, and Parasite incredible win of best director, best picture, best original screenplay, and best international feature at the Oscars that year.
Yeah.
Just incredible run. And we got to talk about Parasite a little bit because that's a movie that did upend the DGAs.
Oh.
Because, again, the guilds are a little bit more homegrown American. So yeah, obviously there can be international people in the guild if they work in if they're regularly working in America or whatever. I'm sure you can join SAG or whatever. All that stuff is international to unions and all that stuff to different degrees. But a lot of the time you see this, you definitely see it with SAG, the SAG nominations this year. A lot of sentimental value was left out, whereas in every other award show, they're up there.
Hmm.
They're up there, and that's another one of those things that makes it tough when you're looking at these other award winners. Do, does it all matter? Does none of it matter? Is there a way to predict this, or is there a way to kind of read the tea leaves and have better guesses? And I think the answer to that question is yes. And I'm hoping by the end of this pod, we kind of show that a little bit here. That yes, if you
So,
if you do pay attention a little bit, you will see things. There are real true patterns
mhm.
here of winners and whatnot. So as we said, the DGA happened on February 7th. Sorry, and PTA man, he won, and it's so it. Listen, I'm not a hater on one battle. I just like Sinners more. For me, that's where my thing is. And I know for you, if it's when we're talking Sinners, one battle after another, one battle is probably above Sinners for you, and that's fine. You're not calling
I love how
like.
you say that's fine because I acknowledge that it's the basic answer. Like, I went into watching that movie though, thinking I was going to absolutely hate it. And I think that's probably why I've put it in the top of, it's not my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely in the top because I went into it thinking this is not my style of movie. I'm not a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. I just didn't think I was
Mhm.
going to like it. And I was shocked. And, that's why I love movies, right? And it's movie making is an art, and art is subjective. And that's why I love having these conversations because I went into Sinners thinking I was going to absolutely love it. And I did. I was very entertained, but I had my criticisms.
Mhm. And that's awesome. And for me, I saw one battle up at Music Box, saw it on the 70 millimeters, big screen. I saw Sinners 3 times in theaters.
Wow.
If I'm being honest, I truly can't remember the last time I saw a movie like truly three times in a theater. And I saw that movie three times within 2 weeks. I saw it once in IMAX the Friday or Saturday of opening weekend. I went back to an IMAX movie that Tuesday, so like 4 days later, and then like a week later, I went back one more time, and like Sinners just blew me away on every level. And I think I did myself a little bit of a disservice though for One Battle, because if I'm being honest, as much as One Battle is great, and if PTA ends up winning an Oscar for Best Director and Best Picture, like it is well deserved. Like the PTA has been making great, interesting movies since Boogie Nights in the '90s. Like full stop. That like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, The Master. These are all very interesting, intricate, deep diving movies that are all beautifully handcrafted movies too. Like him and Daniel Day Lewis and There Will Be Blood, I think, is PTA's absolute masterpiece. The same way that like Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece is Pan's Labyrinth. The same way that if we're going to talk about it, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas is probably really his masterpiece, but he wins for Departed later on in life because it's like, oh yeah, dude, we need to give you an Oscar before you die. And I kind of hate, and like what I hate for PTA is that I feel like that's what he's getting this year. Is that
Really?
is that I think he's getting the Oscar that like fuck, we need to give you an Oscar before you die. Because I think again, because he didn't win it for There Will Be Blood, which I think is his
Okay.
true masterpiece. So I think he gets overlooked the same way that Scorsese does with Goodfellas, and then at what There Will Be Blood is 2008. So we are talking almost 20 years later now. He then gets the true accolade for it. And I'm not saying that One Battle is bad. I'm not saying
This
One Battle is
isn't like a Revenant moment though, because that movie sucked and like Leo won for
bad.
it. That was a sympathy win. This, in my personal
Fair.
opinion, every single person that I've spoken to has loved this movie. So not only just because of the cast, it's just everything about it. It was hilarious. I loved the context. The way that it was shot was absolutely stunning. It just it had everything. So I'm so shocked to hear you say that.
Unfortunately, that like it's the same way that I think really best supporting actor is truly between Delroy Lindo and Stellan Skarsgård. And I think that I truly believe that both Benicio getting nominated and Sean Penn automatically cross them out. I think that that's just like too much for their. I think like literally their votes of people trying to vote one way or the other will split them, and then they won't have enough to like win. But I really think Delroy Lindo and Stellan Skarsgård, who both get their first Oscar nominations this year as supporting actors this year, eh, without a doubt, it's one of those two.
I think
Uh,
Sean Penn probably would have had a pretty good chance if Benicio del Toro wasn't nominated as well. Like I was actually shocked to see his name on the list. He was very funny and he was, he was a large part in why I think that movie was so entertaining, but I was a little
mhm.
shocked to see that he got a nom.
If I'm being honest, most of my pushback on that on One Battle is actually Tiana Taylor's character. I hate the abandonment of like her kid, and like yes, I know that she's got the letter at the end, and but it's like I know you haven't seen Marty Supreme, but like there's a little there's a little bit of like there's a little similar storyline there in Marty Supreme, and
Okay.
I'm just like that is fake. When I watched it, I was like, it's fake and it is unfounded to try and like give that little bit of like bow tie ness there, of like happiness there. I just found it unearned in the end. I would have liked to have seen, at least in the for first off, Tiana Taylor is great in that
Yeah.
role. Like I'm not saying she is a bad person. I just don't like
Oh,
her character in the end, that she just goes off to Mexico. Yes, she writes the letter, but she doesn't we don't see. I would, if you give me 20 more minutes and I get three more scenes of her like trying to follow like Chase Infinity or something, I'm
Yeah,
probably gonna love this movie a lot more.
I
But
agree with you. She
I
was really only the movie was long and she wasn't in it nearly as much as I thought she was going to be. If they had brought her back in towards the end,
mhm.
instead of just her just reading the letter, maybe, developing that storyline where they could potentially, have a relationship down the road, that would have been a little bit more meaningful. So even though I was delighted to see her take home the Golden Globe, I don't know if she'll take the Oscar.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Best supporting actor or actress is going to be a tough one this year. I mean, she's the favorite, which again is like fine. She won the Golden Globe, which is interesting, and we can talk about Golden Globe even because like what I believe PTA won the Golden Globe for best drama, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Kugler win a Golden Globe for? I
No.
know they won box office. They won box office, which okay, Golden
People
Globe.
hate that. People hate that
I hate the
award.
box. Well, the box office award. Let's talk about this in regards to Sinners, and let's talk about it in regards to all the headlines post Sinners coming out. Everybody was so focused on Sinners.
Yeah.
$90 million budget. Are they going to make their money back? Okay, let's just all stop all of that. In the end, Sinners ended up making $1 billion at the box office because Ryan Coogler just makes $1 billion movies.
Mhm.
Like the guy just knows how to appease people. He knows how to use big, large formats to get people to go see those tickets, but he just knows how to put butts in seats because he makes
Yeah.
interesting films. Full stop.
Yep.
One of the best up and coming directors that we have, putting him up there with Chloe Zhao and Greta Gerwig. And I mean, Yorgos Lanthimos isn't like new. He's definitely an older guy, but like he's had a lot of recent critical success, I would say, more so in his life in the last 10 years than he has probably in the previous like 25 years of his career. All that to say that like I love Ryan Coogler and I love his like big format stuff. I think Ryan Coogler though, when it comes to the best director, if he won the DGA award, I'd almost be willing to bet that Coogler would have won the directing Oscar. Since he lost the DGA award, I really think PTA will win the Oscar, not as just like we kind of want to give it to you before you like die kind of thing, but like it's well deserved. Like it sounds like I'm a huge hater of One Battle After Another. I'm not.
I
I'm not.
understand where you're coming from because I've held that position in years past. You know that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
specific.
No, exactly. And so like I'm not being a hater on it. It's just like I did like one other movie more. So like I'm always going to be defending one movie harder than the other.
I agree with that. That's
Right?
usually my stance too. And I really, really, really wanted it to be Sinners, but unfortunately it just wasn't for me. I
But
don't know what to say.
I think we can both agree though on this other movie that we can talk about in the like acting categories and international feature and stuff as well is Sentimental Value. A
Mhm.
movie that like impacted both of us.
Yeah.
I saw Sentimental Value first in a double feature with Hamnet,
Mhm.
and Sentimental Value just blew me away. Like rocked my world. I was bawling.
A
Like I was
double
just
feature with Hamnet. That's a heavy
yeah. And that
handful of hours.
uh, let me tell you, Becky, I'm just clearly a masochist because like I also went to the theater to go see Voice of Hin Rajab, and let me tell you that 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 was another beautifully done movie. But that movie is about a girl being stuck in her family's car, a like 6-year-old girl in Gaza, a little Palestinian girl being stuck in a family's car that got 355 bullets put into it by the Israeli army, and she's calling for help for a day and a half. And so like this year's Oscars are some of the heaviest Oscars I've ever dealt with in some of these things. That movie was devastating.
Yeah.
Um
I haven't had the opportunity to see it, but it sounds like it. And I will say, I've been dabbling a lot more in like into the documentaries and the short films and things like that. And I will say I'm so proud of the topics and that's being touched on, like this year especially. So
Did you watch All the Empty Rooms? In
yes,
yeah, that
bald.
that one was incredibly devastating.
Yes.
I mean, so All the Empty Rooms is about uh God, I can't think of the journalist's name, but everybody will know him. We'll put a picture up of him or whatever. But it's about him and his photographer friend going to victims' houses of all the kids' victims like houses of school shootings. And this reporter and this photojournalist, they go and they then make books of taking photos of these kids' rooms that these parents and stuff and loved ones have never touched from the day they found out that their child was killed in a school shooting. And that movie broke me in so many ways. I mean, my daughter just turned 6, so that is a something that is way too common and on my mind far too often. Um, and so that just kind of broke me a little bit. Uh,
It's
there was
devastating. Even as someone who's childless, it was a fresh perspective on school shootings that we don't get every day. And it's gotten to the point where these shootings are normal. And that is the most terrifying thing in the world. And, I think it's so important his perspective of like we need to stop focusing on the shooter and we need to start focusing on the victims and their families and seeing how these parents haven't touched their child's room, it just made it so real, and even at the
Mhm.
end of the short, he was like, "If everyone saw these pictures or stepped inside one of these bedrooms, like, w America would have a much different perspective on gun control."
Yeah,
And so I just think it's what, 35 minutes? I think if you have not seen it, to anyone who's listening, spare 35 minutes and watch this short
yeah,
because it's so important.
it's beautifully done. It's on Netflix. The other Netflix doc that I watched was the Perfect Neighbor.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I did see The Perfect Neighbor, yes.
That
I
was
bawled.
also
There's another one I bawled my eyes out. It was
the
really, really well done. Like, it wasn't your typical documentary where they're, like, sitting down and interviewing people. You're seeing things happening in real time off of body camera footage.
yeah,
It's wild.
it's incredible. It's a devastating story, one that happens far too often, and that we're seeing like in many ways like happening on our streets right now, or definitely up in Minnesota, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And it is, oh man, that was another tough one because like I mean we were those kids, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember running around playing tag in my neighbors' backyards, and like yeah, I was lucky, and on my like block there was 4 different houses there, and there was all kids between like a year or two younger than me to a year or two older than me. So like our at least block was like, nah, the kids will be kids, and you just let the kids be kids. If they break something, let us like if they're destructive, like let us know. But they're hopping fences, playing tag, let them hop a fence. It'll be fine,
Yeah, it's
Like,
just it's so crazy to me. It shows you the dynamics of how people of color and how white people are treated, especially with police officers. And this woman clearly had mental health issues, yet she was still able to own a firearm.
yep,
And so it just goes to show that like, we need stricter gun laws in America because even to this day now, I try my best. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but even when I'm, like, driving and I get road rage, I try my best not to react to people because you never know.
yeah,
That person may have a gun.
yep,
Like, it's just, like, a thing now, and it's crazy to me.
absolutely. Absolutely agree. Um, I mean, those kids lost their mom. That woman like stole a kid's like iPad. Like you really killed a kid's mom over an iPad, lady.
Yeah.
Like,
She was
like oh
murdered for being a mom.
yeah,
Uh,
Like, and that's like the worst part because some people will watch that and be like, "Oh, that mom shouldn't have done that," and it's like, no, we're being absolutely clear. That mom was a great mom, and that is a tragedy that happened.
Was
We're like anyone saying the opposite, you're a moron. Like
yeah.
I'll just say that. Nobody like it. That was a movie that again, like I watched it and I was like, this is the fucking world that like we have to like live in and that like like we're raising like I'm raising a child in and stuff and it's just like you see things like this and it's just like why like it's crazy, it is
I'm
crazy sometimes.
so happy that these stories are being told, though.
Absolutely, they
Hope
need to be told.
I hope they have more reach moving forward because I feel like a lot of people tend to avoid topics like this because they are so sad, but it's, it's what determines your opinions on politics and not even just politics, just how you live your life, your morals and your values. And it's just in this day and age where social media is the golden standard, like it's so easy to dehumanize people and act as if this isn't really happening, but it
Right,
is.
right, just like
Yeah.
yeah, the introduction into AI is just like that's a whole nother topic. I hate it. AI sucks. But fuck AI. I like real artists. We literally have an entire podcast dedicated to that, collected conversations to artists and like how they do their craft and like how they've gotten there. It's like honestly that's just to give people like a process, like don't go to AI, like listen to the pod or listen to people who actually are making art of like you're gonna get something. Like it
Yeah.
may not be the exact thing that gets you there, but it might like trigger something that you're like, hey, I never thought about that. And that's the beauty of art, creativity, and movies.
Agreed.
And so now for some of our next awards, like we have had the Golden Globes, and I think Golden Globes are always tough because
Mhm.
they're the first one. They're even before any of the guilds, because the Golden Globes, we already know all those winners. Like we know Chloe Hamnet won Best Picture. Um, and then we got Stellan Skarsgård, who winning Best Supporting Actor. PTA won, Director won, Battle won, probably Best Picture for comedy or musical. Then, which I gotta ask, like the Golden Globes is so weird because I feel like they put one battle in both some comedy and musical categories and some drama categories, and I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like we're cheating here, but like I'm not gonna. You can't deny that there is that both like it fits as both a comedy and a drama, like one battle.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
there is some stuff that like Benicio del Toro,
Yep.
like his entire character is just hilarious. But like
Leonardo DiCaprio was fucking hilarious. I don't care who you and
no
this
no
is
he
me, a Leo hater, and I'm like, this, in my opinion, was his best role to date.
yeah I
Well,
I
except
think
for, like, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but that was, like, a whole lifetime ago.
yeah, that's true. That's like what that's an early one.
Yeah.
I really think I really am a big fan of Wolf of Wall Street for him. Um, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of things you don't really see him do, and you don't see Leo do physical comedy like that.
Yeah.
The way that like the think about it, the like back and forth and like you don't see him like do things like that.
Tells
Um,
he wasn't acting, and that's just, like,
I
and I think that's why I hated it. The
mean,
Quaalude scene, though, will go down in history as one of the funniest scenes, I think.
where
Um,
are the loo? I will not die sober.
I do think he kind of overacted a little bit, so I'm not shocked. I think that was the year that Matthew McConaughey took the award anyway for
Mhm.
Dallas Buyers Club, so it made sense that he didn't win,
Yeah,
but
well, and McConaughey, that was like the capping of the McConaughey's,
yeah.
of like True Detective and everything like that. Like, he finally broke out of his like rom-commy with like Kate Hudson. But like to be fair, he never, unlike other people, he never shat on those movies
No.
either. He was like I wanted to do new stuff. I wanted to try different things and like so I just started saying no to that stuff until I finally started getting the offers or what or the auditions that like I really wanted, which
Mhm.
is like respectful. A lot of almost all actors do that. Like Zac
Yeah.
Efron's talked about that. Like he was like, I like. Don't get me wrong, I like doing High School Musical. I'm a song and dance guy or whatever. But like he also likes doing Neighbors with Seth Rogen because that shit is fun too. Like
Yeah.
he
He
likes
was
to do.
amazing in Baywatch. Like, come on. I could
Yeah,
watch that movie any day.
like what are we talking about here? Like of course him and The Rock like get that. Like they get the
Yeah.
assignment in that movie. Like they totally understand what they're doing. But like he's also like Zac Efron's also really good in that Netflix movie where he's Ted Bundy, like the extremely evil, completely vile, like movie. Like he's really good in that. He's really good. He's really good in that Charlie St. Cloud movie from like I don't know at this
Oh,
point like
yeah.
20 years ago or whatever. But again, that was like one of those small indie movies that he was that like he was trying to flex that he's like I'm a real actor after High School Musical,
Yeah.
and people were just like yeah all right
I
yeah
think
all
he
right
really came on the scene in 17 again, though. Even though that was his
mm,
comedy,
yeah
it was very heartfelt as well. I think
that's a
he
good
played a very good 17-year-old acting like a 30-something-year-old.
you know
It was hilarious. I think that's kind of when he broke the mold for me.
yep.
Um, I think he'll have his moment down the road. I don't know if he's there quite yet, but we love Zac Efron.
Oh yeah. So I mean I'm a big fan. Like High School Musical really isn't my thing
Yeah.
at all. But like I just like the same thing. Like Twilight was never my thing, but I
Yeah.
appreciate like Robert Pattinson and Kirsten Stewart like where they are now compared to
Yeah.
where they started and stuff. Like both our Pats and Stewart are doing way more interesting
Yeah.
things now than they were ever doing in Twilight and like great for breaking that mold first. I mean, I'm still shocked that Robert Pattinson came to be Batman, but I mean,
Same.
I mean,
Same. I've
but
never
I
seen it, but yes, when I first found out he was
he's great.
Batman, I was like,
He's great.
Are we sure about that?" But I heard nothing but great things. So
He's really good. I love that Batman movie. It is something. It gave us the first time ever in a single live action Batman movie where Batman is truly a detective following the clues, trying to figure out the mystery. And
love that.
for that alone, because he's the world's greatest detective. That's his superpower. Like, or he's just as rich as like Tony Stark. So he's got like oodles and noodles of money that like he can just do whatever he wants with. But if you're going to give him something other than the money and the tech, like he is the world's greatest detective. That like it is a saying for him. He is vengeance. He is the Dark Knight. That is what he tells people. The people he is trying to scare. But the people around him know him as the world's greatest detective, and like that is how he's spoken about, and that is like what he is truly best at, taking the clues and putting it together. And even people who can read minds or shapeshift like Martian Manhunter, or like I don't know, bend the world like Superman, or be a Themyscirian warrior like Wonder Woman. Like there's still things he's able to like pieces he's put together that nobody else can, because
Mhm.
he's just the world's greatest detective. And it's one of those things that's really beautiful. And the sexual chemistry between Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz is off the charts.
Who doesn't have sexual chemistry with Zoe Kravitz though? Like, come
I
on.
mean, you're not
She is
wrong
the most
here.
beautiful human being one of the most beautiful human beings on this planet.
Like you're not. I zero arguments. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, but it works so well the way that Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer worked for Batman Returns. Like the cat, and but like again, the cat and the bat is a 85-year plus like love story between
Yeah.
them of like star-crossed lovers of like it's the it's the DC comic version of Romeo and Juliet. It's
Mhm.
Batman, the truth and justice, Catwoman, the little cat burglar, who then in a lot of ways also takes on the women of the street and starts protecting them and teaches them how to like fight back and care for themselves. And then and like Batman in those cases, like it's like he steps back. He doesn't like necessarily like arrest her. Like, however, if you're stealing diamonds and shit, like yeah, I'm gonna throw you in jail.
Yeah.
If you break somebody's arm for like beating one of your girls, like yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, it's like
Everybody,
arresting Robin Hood, you know?
yeah, right. But like it's just a beautiful, interesting dynamic, and those two in that movie play it wonderfully. Like there is, it's just so good. There's just so well cast together.
I love that. I'll have to add it to the list. I like the perspective of it really focusing on him being a detective because
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of superhero movies. So maybe if it felt a little bit more realistic, for lack of a better word, I would enjoy it.
I've got a feeling like you've watched The Dark Knight though, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you like that? Like,
Yeah, but it's not a movie I put on for fun. Like
that's
I'll
fair.
probably never watch it again.
Oh, I watched that movie like 8 times when it was in theaters. That's probably one of the last movies that I saw. I saw that thing like maybe 4 or 5 times opening weekend. Like I just lived at the movie theater.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen a movie more than once in theaters.
Oh,
That's wild, I know, but I'm just the kind of person where it's like, "Okay, I already spent money on it, so I'm gonna wait." I don't know. Have I ever seen a movie more than once? I'll think about it.
now the next major like guild voting award ceremony that we have is the Producers Guild, and the Producers Guild is good for kind of direct or predicting best picture at least nominees. Um, Going back to 2009, so we are in year of 2026 of our Lord the films, and going back to 2009, if your flick wins the outstanding producer like theatrical award, it is definitely going to be nominated at the Oscar, and it's quickly to be the favorite. There have only been like maybe 3 winners of like the PGA award that didn't go on to win the Oscar for didn't go on to win the Oscar for Best Picture. Again, one of the more recent ones was 1917 in 2019. That loses the DGA. It wins the DGA, it wins the PGA, but at the Oscars, it loses the Parasite. Parasite just like comes out of nowhere and totally upends the Oscars that year. Like one of the craziest Oscars year. It's before we're potting together about this, but like that was like one of the last Oscars year where we're like people were like, "Oh my god, what
I
just
remember.
happened here?"
Mhm.
Because again, 1917. I remember me and my dad saw that in theaters together. Like, and like the big thing about it was that it was the whole thing was a oneer. And if you examine films a little bit, yes, it looks like it's all one take like that, but there are very sly cuts in there because it's not, yeah, sure, it's a wonder. Okay, let Roger Deakins is great. I'm not trying to take anything away from Roger Deakins, one of the single greatest cinematographers of all time. Like the Deacon cast, his podcast, incredible, incredible. If you want to just learn about filmmaking, shooting film, the process of filmmaking, anything like that, go listen to the Deacon podcast wherever you can listen to get your podcast at. It's beautiful stuff. But so there's like some things like that. Big Short ended up winning as well. But then like won the PGA, but Spotlight ended up winning the Oscar that year. Again, two great movies. That was like that was really close. But those are some recent winners here where things have switched. Same
Mhm.
thing with La La Land, actually. And oh my gosh, do you remember that La La Land and Moonlight and that whole like snafu?
Yeah, so
Um,
I had never seen Moonlight, I am ashamed to say, and but I also was not the biggest fan of La La Land.
yeah,
So, I can't remember what my reaction was in the moment, especially since I hadn't seen Moonlight, um, but probably not bummed since I didn't love La La Land. I'm so weird, the way that I, like, process movies is so weird. Everyone loves La La Land, and I just didn't
La
get
La
it.
Land is fine. And I'm a theater kid. I used to build sets and stuff in high school. That's how I got. That's like part of like how our mutual friend Jeff, like how her and I have known each other for like so long, is like aside from high school is like doing theater and stuff as well. Like we've always had a taste of theatrics. So like I appreciate theater and stuff, not the way that Jeff does. Jeff's on a whole Jeff's got a whole other love of that, and I love her for that. But like that, like I like it. I don't love it, you know? And so like La La Land is a fine movie. It's well crafted. Like Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, like Emma Stone wins her first Oscar for La La Land. I think it's well deserved for her, especially like, you know, like I first fell in love with her back in like Superbad in 2006, you know, like 20 years ago now. And or at least that's my first introduction to her. But like from Superbad, easy or yeah, it's Easy A, right? Is her
House
like
Bunny.
yeah, I
I
love that movie.
loved her in House Bunny.
House Bunny's great. Anna Faris is amazing in House Bunny.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I love
can't
Anna.
go out of Paris.
Yeah, but you know what? I love one person we haven't talked about. I'm sorry about One Battle After Another, who I think is heavily overlooked, is Regina Hall.
Regina Hall. Yeah.
It bums me out.
Which is ironic because I feel like she's in it more than Tiana. Oh, I don't know. I haven't done the math, but I feel
Yeah,
like she's
I
in
mean,
it throughout. So
because like I mean, to be fair, Regina Hall is bookending. She's there at the beginning and she's there at the end. Like truly, um, I've never seen Regina Hall give a performance like that. I know her being funny in like Scary Movie and other stuff
yeah,
like that. I've never really seen that big of a dramatic turn for her.
yeah.
So for me, I was like, whoa. I was kind of like I didn't know you had that in you. And
Mhm.
like so for me, in all of this award season and stuff, as much as I agree Tiana Taylor's good, I really think Regina Hall is actually completely overlooked. And it's probably one of my biggest snubs, short of Jesse Plemons from Begonia not getting nominated for Best Actor.
That
Like
was the biggest.
that lit like and so like I'm fresh to watching Begonia. You like you've been like, watch it, man. Just watch it. Watch it. I was like, all right, I'll get to it. All right, I'll get to it. And then I finally bought it and it finally came in and then I finally watched it. But I also waited to watch it with my wife Jess because she was like out of all the movies that have come out this year, that's the only movie that I like genuinely kind of want to watch. And I was like, sold, baby.
Let's
Date
do
night, movie night.
it.
So we watched it together and like that movie's great. Yorthos Lanthimos again continues to just give me mind bendy, weird fucking stories and like with incredible performances and such like everything just feels real. Like no matter how like weird or wherever we're going in the story and stuff, like his worlds just feel so real and so lived in that like it's just like I'm going outside, you know, my house or whatever, and then it's like, oh yeah, I've got this crazy experience with like with the crazy neighbors that put the aluminum foil on their
Yeah.
windows and stuff, and like, oh man.
Yeah, Begonia
um
found its way up into my number one spot this year.
it's not my number one, but it's up there in my like top. It's in my top five with like One Battle. So what? I've got Sinners at number one. One Battle's up there. I've got Sentimental Value. I've got Begonia, and then I'm trying to think of like
Hamnet is in there for me, but I know you weren't the biggest
Ham.
Hamnet.
So Hamnet, the same thing that I had with what was the movie? There was another like movie involving a kid earlier this year from the people who did Bring Her Back, maybe. Yeah, Bring Her Back is a horror film on HBO Max now, and the people who did that are the same people who did Talk to Me. They're an
Oh my God,
Australian.
I love Talk to Me.
Yeah, Talk to Me is great. But they all so they're like sequel or not their sequel. It's not connected to Talk to Me in like a spiritual way anywhere. Their second film, their sophomore film, is the better way of saying it. Their sophomore feature is called Bring Her Back, and for me, there's another bit about like a tortured, grieving mother in it, and like, and for me, I'm I'm tired of seeing mothers grieve and be tortured over the death of their children. Now, again, I've talked about it earlier. My daughter is 6 years old, so it's tough for me on that.
Yeah.
It is tough, but like in like I don't know. I guess it's a better evolution than like what it was back in the 80s and the early 90s of like, you know, the Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton of like having to show these strong female characters. You had to put them in like, you had to fight them against an alien or a Terminator to basically show that like women can be strong and hold their end against these like crazy and like impending forces and these immovable objects that should disseminate everybody, but like they somehow find a way to like bring it together and hold it together and get through there. um
I think the reason why I liked it, I definitely think it was more so her story than
mhm,
Shakespeare's, but that I think it touches really well on how men and women grieve differently. And that ending scene was everything. I felt every single emotion, and you could tell in the moment they have this moment where they like lock eyes,
yeah.
and she like finally like understands that he was grieving in his own way, and it turned into this beautiful creation or story loosely based on their real lives. And
Mhm.
it just was a beautiful film to watch and like look at. And obviously Jessie Buckley fucking killed it, and she's gonna
Oh
like
yeah, she's
succeed.
great.
I do think what's his name? Paul Mescal.
Yeah, Paul Mescal.
I
Yeah.
always get him confused with Pedro Pascal. Not confused
I
with
mean,
their names. They're just way too similar. I do think he was my second snub of the year. I was a little sad to see that he didn't get any kind of um recognition, because there were a handful of scenes in that film that were extremely heartbreaking to watch. And I just think he did so beautifully. So it was a hard film to
yeah,
watch. It's not one that I'm gonna put on tomorrow and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this every day. But I thought so much time and attention went into the costuming and the
beautiful production
set design.
design.
Yes. But yeah, Begonia snuck its way in there, and I was a little worried just because I know we talked about this last year, but Poor Things was not my absolute favorite.
Right,
This one, it made me feel all the feelings. I went back and forth, spoiler alert. I went back and forth on whether or not who we should believe. I was
right.
like, this is really an alien? I don't know. And then I was like, nah, that's great. She's not an alien. And then I love how it touched on like how Americans view class in this country. Like, look at this extremely smart, extremely eloquent man. And we're just like, oh my God, like he's a kidnapper. He's a piece of shit. Like he murders people. Like he's a psychopath. Like, of course we can't be on his side.
So the biggest tell that like hit both Jess and I when we were watching Begonia about is Jesse Plemons, like spoilers alert, like he kidnapped, like just a quick little like aside, he kidnaps Emma Stone and then he accuses her of being an alien. And this entire movie then like that the entire second act into the third act is all this tension of this like kidnapping and going back and forth and like, are you this, are you that, oh my god, I found out you're this, holy cow, I'm so sorry I treated you this bad. Like it's just wild sauce. But for her in particular, you don't know it. Emma Stone, an amazing performance. Again, Emma Stone, one of the best actresses we have out there. Like, I'm not mad that she won for Poor Things. I just thought Lily
Yeah.
Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon was better for the first time. Like seeing that again, Emma Stone has already won before. So I didn't think she needed to win a second Oscar that soon after for a performance I thought was good, not great. Like I would rather Emma Stone win this year for Begonia than 2 years ago for Poor Things.
Shaved her head. No, she was amazing in this movie, aside from shaving her head, because I think I've made my position very clear that I don't think you're a great actor if you shave your head or eat a real animal heart. Like
Yeah,
that's not acting to me, even though I give her props for it. The scene where he comes back after killing his mom and he like runs into the basement and her head is just popped up and she's like, how many were Andromedons? I was fucking laughing my ass off. I
that's
was like,
that
wait a minute. Like, what is happening here?
that's the part where my wife and I went decided that when she doesn't leave after seeing the
Yes.
pictures, is that that's when you're like, wait a second.
I was screaming at the TV. I was like, "Why aren't you running away? Like, what are you doing?" And then she goes into that secret room and she
Mhm.
sees he has this replica of this spaceship and all this research that he's done. And yeah, he looks like a psycho because there's like a dead body, you know. But the whole build up from that on, where she brings him back to the office and everyone's just like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is happening?" You really start to feel for him because
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, we're going now." And he's like really excited and she just pulls out a calculator and she's just like, "Okay." And I was like, "Why was the calculator in like a box?" So I just went back and forth where I was like, "Okay, this isn't like this is like he's gonna die and then we're all gonna just go back to normal." But like, oh my God, when she went in that closet, I was like, "Oh my God, she's an alien."
Yep. And she comes out of like the Ivan Ooze goop from like the Mighty Morphin
Yes.
Power Rangers and stuff. Like it's just like, oh my
And the outfits,
God.
and I was like, "Holy shit." Like, honestly, I was watching it with my parents and they thought it was the stupidest thing, but I was like, "This to me is absolutely genius."
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, it's wacky, it's wild, it's far-fetched, but that's why it's so good.
I mean, it was a roller coaster ride, and it literally kept you guessing the entire time. Like, yeah,
Yes.
like literally up until she looks at the pictures, and when she asks them how many were Andromedons and stuff, I was like, oh my god, she really like that. Those were the times where I was like most of being like, she really could like. Why does she care about that?
She
Like,
was
out of
talking about the
all of this,
history of what was actually happening, but she made it sound like campy, like she was making it up off the top of her head. So her
yeah,
delivery was just absolutely amazing. I was
yeah.
like, "Wait a minute. Like she sounds so sure of herself, but she's just this really smart CEO lady who's literally trying to get herself out of a precarious situation. Like she's good." And then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I got because
Yeah.
for a second I was like, she is an alien. And then I was like, nah, this guy's crazy. And he may be right. So I was like, fuck. And then I looked at my parents and I was like, if this shit is real, like if there really are aliens here, like, and we're all gonna die like this, just I hope it goes fast. We all deserve
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right? Like, I hope it's just a little bubble, the alien
Yeah.
pops, and then we're all gone.
And we just
Um,
yeah, it was great. Great movie.
so good.
Mm.
But
It won't
so
win Best Picture though.
I don't think it'll win back. But you know what?
No.
I've got to say, like so I have seen every single movie nominated for Best Picture this year except for The Secret Agent. It's the only
I
movie.
did Marty Supreme get nominated for Best Picture?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so.
That's I have not seen that either. I was supposed to go last was it last weekend when we did but then me and my sister realized it was like that protest where you're not supposed to spend money. So we were like, oh, gotta put our money where our mouth is. So we didn't go see it. But
There
I
you
will
go.
before the Oscars, I promise.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't seen F1 either.
F1. So like F1 is really good. I was actually surprised at how much I ended up really liking it. To be honest, it was like it's the definition of like just a dad movie. Like I can't explain it any other way other than like dads will like this movie. Like it's just fun. There's like a fun soundtrack and stuff to it. The
Shocked it was nominated for Best Film though.
I'm not actually. I'm
Really?
not surprised. I'm not surprised overall. It is a very, very well crafted film, like just
How
top to
many
bottom.
other nominations did it get? What sound?
And but it's a race car movie, so the sound.
Lame.
If it didn't get sound, I would be like shocked because that means like that
But it
the
got
because
no acting nominations.
it,
Like,
it it was
duh.
never meant to be an acting movie. It's more
Um,
so in the lines with Frankenstein. Like Frankenstein, I'm shocked that Jacob Elordi got his acting nom, and I'm
no, I would
yes,
not put that on the same level.
absolutely, because I would expect Frankenstein to be a well crafted movie, so I could see Best Picture director for an F1. I could have seen that, like absolutely after watching it, could have seen a Best Picture and Best Director,
Well,
and then
Frankenstein's
seeing
got
things like
makeup and
sound,
costumes and product. That's like
production design,
production design and things like that. Like F1 literally has sound and best picture. Like
and editing.
and also what? They got adaptation, right?
Yeah, Frankenstein got
So
adaptation. No,
no,
no, no,
there's
no.
no way can you put that on the same. I've never seen F1, so I guess I can't have such a strong opinion about it. But I just think it's like everyone is obsessed with F1 right now, so it naturally was gonna do well in theaters, but, like, cool. I would have much rather have seen, like, Avatar or something get in there, and I've never seen
That's
F
fair.
films.
That's fair. Avatar, I'm kind of shocked that like that didn't get in there as well. I'm shocked that actually Secret Agent got in there, but
Mhm.
and Sentimental Value that they like really brought in like two like real international like films, The Secret Agent um and Sentimental Value, both like a Sentimental Value coming from Norway and The Secret Agent coming from Brazil, also getting Best International Feature nominations as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm being honest, I was shocked about that. Train Dreams is the definition of just a good movie. It's just a good
Yeah,
movie.
it was
It's just a
good.
good movie. It's a good drama. Like you're not going to be if you're not like blown away by it, I'm not surprised. But if you walk out of that, I walk out of that movie being like, that's a solid movie, like a solid 7, 8 on like out of 10. I think you're right in the ballpark there.
Yeah.
I think you're right in the ballpark there. Also feel that's where kind of F1 lands, but I feel like Frankenstein lands in like an 8, 9 area. To be fair, as
I
well as
enjoyed Frankenstein. I again, much like Sinners, it was not without flaw.
yeah,
I think
I
there's
got
so much going on, and it was long, but it didn't feel long while I was watching it because I was like, I want more of the monsters story. So I don't know if they'll do like a second one or not, but
they're doing an ultimate cut.
okay,
They're doing an ultimate cut.
they are.
Guillermo del
Okay.
Toro is going to be doing a director's cut of it.
Okay.
Don't know when that's happening. If they're gonna wait until after the award season, if it's gonna be out eventually via like Criterion collection on physical. But he's confirmed there's an ultimate cut or like a director's cut, an extended cut, however you want to look at it, that is going to give additional footage. I don't know if he's talked about the actual like length of additional footage. Is it 5 minutes? Is it 25 minutes? Is it 55 minutes? Like I don't know, but there is more footage. There is an extended cut, and it is coming. So I am excited. I'm just excited about that as you are. I did like Frankenstein a whole bunch, and Del Toro is one of my favorite directors of all time. The dude just has always made monsters and creepy things palatable for people who don't really enjoy that stuff or people who have always been turned off to that stuff.
Well, even like his version of Pinocchio, I absolutely loved. I mean, I like dark macabre. How do you say that word? Macabre.
Cobb, macabre, it's all metal. But yeah,
A lot of people hated that movie, but I
it's
was
so
like,
good.
the story of Pinocchio is rather dark, actually, and so I liked his adaptation of it.
Hmm. Um, the Devil's Backbone and Pinocchio have a lot in common. With each other. They rhyme to each other. They sing to each other in a lot of ways. And I Guillermo del Toro is just one of the most interesting filmmakers in the
Yeah,
world. So but again, it's one of those things like he is left off being nominated for Best Director at the Oscars, but he was nominated for the DGA at
that's
the DGA
interesting.
award. So like again, it's one of those things where like the guild was like, you did a really good job, but the Oscars again are like, we'll give you best picture, best adapted. We want other people who haven't won up
Mm.
there yet. Like, PTA hasn't won as being a director. I think the only one for best director who's won previously, I think, is Chloe Zhao, because isn't she nominated as well for director for Hamnet?
She better be because
Forget if
um
Yeah. So it's Hamnet, Chloe Zhao, Marty Supreme, Josh Shadafi, PTA for One Battle, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and then the final one is Ryan Coogler. So yeah, I mean, out of everybody up there, Chloe Zhao's already won
yep,
for a Best Director Oscar.
yep.
So like again, you could have. bumped her out and put Guillermo in there. But if you're switching those two, like, who cares about who's getting nominated? If you're going to give them, both of them have won before, both
Yeah.
well deserving. Great. I'm not, and to be fair, like I'm not hating on like Hamnet or Chloe Zhao as like a filmmaker. She's again, she talked about it in her Golden Globe win about her and Ryan Coogler being at the Sundance Institute and stuff together, bringing their first features up together there, and like being in the director schools and like writing labs and all of that and stuff. And like, so it's great to see these new directors and like really talented people get their dues. That's why it's like it's so tough for me where it's like I get it. Paul Thomas Anderson's one of the best. Like he
I
deserves.
love seeing women being recognized as well. And it's not just a sympathy vote. Like that movie
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely beautiful.
And and again, Hamnet is very good. It is. I just had a tough time with it, just on the perspective of where my life is, of like who I
Yeah. I
am
mean,
and whatnot. Like it was really tough to see, and maybe I also did myself the disfavor of seeing Sentimental Value before Hamnet, which is another tough generational like trauma kind of movie about dads and daughters.
yeah,
Again,
I
like
mean,
in like,
I said
like
the same thing to you when I watched it. I said I'm over the absent father trope. Like,
right.
of course, the father is absent and it's caused trauma to the female daughters. But I mean, the reason I loved that movie so much was because of the relationship with the sisters. And
It's
obviously, it
beautiful.
resonated because of my relationship with my sister. So, perspective is everything, right? Our
Hmm.
personal experiences go into these movie theaters with us. And
It's tough to be completely objective about it when we have a subjective view about how we
yeah,
feel on certain subject matters,
yeah.
like
I mean, unpopular opinion. I'm a little sad that Elle Fanning got nominated on top of the one sister because I feel like all of the attention's gonna go to Elle. Even if she doesn't win, because I don't think she's gonna win.
I,
Um, but even though she
I,
did great in the movie, I was like, "Oh,
so that's another one of those things where I like Belle Fanning in it. I think she's great. She really is. Like the stuff on the beach between her and Stellan Skarsgård is great. When she has that really tough conversation with Stellan, being like, "Are you sure you want me for this role? Like, do you really want me doing like the accent like this? Like, don't you really want it to be somebody who can just like speak fluent?" And like that's a tough thing for both of those parties there. Both in Elle Fanning being like the young actress, like in the character that she's playing, like being a young actress, giving up a role that will be with like again a great filmmaker that could put her star in a whole new stratosphere by doing it,
yeah."
and like then like leaving a project like that only again makes people look bad or whatever,
For the love of
and
film, though.
right
It
for the
was,
love of film.
it was a beautiful scene, but even Stellan in the moment, or whatever his character's name was,
Yeah,
like, knew what the right thing to do was, even though he didn't have his daughter on board yet. But
yeah.
that scene between the sisters where they read the
The script, yeah, it's
script, yeah.
beautiful.
I'm like, words were escaping me. Um, I was like, "Ugh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." Like, yeah, it was it wasn't my favorite film. Probably wouldn't make my top 5, but it was a beautiful film. I
Yeah,
will say
that's
that. And I do think Stellan's gonna take it.
yeah. So and so but talking about the sister, not Nora, Agnes, talking about Agnes,
Mhm.
she's nominated
Yeah.
for best supporting with Al Fanning, and that's why I think both of them being nominated, just like Del Toro and Sean Penn both being nominated. I think both of those nominations cross each other out, and then that does leave. I would love to see um Winu Madi, who plays Annie in Sinners, win
Mhm.
Best Supporting over Tiana Taylor. Because
I'm
I
over
just,
here like, I want Amy Madigan to win.
you know what? That also would be wild. That would be crazy.
I don't know if she will, but that's where my heart lies as a horror girly, and just because she was so fucking fantastic in it, like,
Yeah, I mean,
creepy and just good. Like,
she's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
She like she's great. She's been nominated every step of the way in every like she's won sometimes, you know. Tiana Taylor's really had like most of it, but like the fact that Amy Madigan, it has been collectively nominated and
Yeah,
in the race every step of the way. You can't count her out because again, that's another woman who I believe like Delroy Lindo and like Stellan Skarsgård, long history of stuff. I don't think she has any other previous nominations
I don't think so.
or indefinite. I know she doesn't have any previous wins. I don't know if she has any previous nominations.
It was cool even seeing her in general. Now I'm gonna look it up because I want to see if
But
she's.
but that's why again, like I think Benicio and Sean Penn, both of them have. Sean Penn's won like two previous Oscars, and Benicio's won at least one previous Oscar, possibly two. That's why I really think Stellan Skarsgård or Delroy Lindo will end up winning Best Supporting. If I'm being honest,
No, if Delroy will.
so it's tough.
Yeah.
Like Stellan. Now, here's the thing: Golden Globes are way more international. The
Mhm.
Oscars have been trying to get a little bit more international, getting a more lovely body there. That's why things like Parasite have getting there. That's why things like The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value have been sneaking their way into like Best Picture. I shouldn't say sneaking their way. That sounds awful. But they're making their way into Best Picture nods because people are truly seeing more films, and that's a good thing because if people see more films, then more films will continue to get made. And this is how we continue to be entertained. And this is how we continue to have fun podcasts about award season. It all goes back to that. And, but all of that to say, though, is that like, yes, we are getting these beautiful films and the Golden Globes are a little bit more international. Now, Stellan Skarsgård won again. I wasn't really surprised when I started seeing it. I was really, if I'm going to be honest, I called my shot back in April. When I first walked out of Sinners, I was telling people that I thought Delroy Lindo will get an Oscar nod. And I honestly have like the text to prove it. I have the receipts, as they say. Um, but like I was just like flabbergasted. Like Delroy Lindo is like just like Stellan Skarsgård, historic figure in acting. But like there's certain moments in that movie of like Sinners that like when he's playing the piano and he gives this like puckered face and he's like I was like that that's beauty. Like that's not something that's not
Retirement or something for this film?
huh?
Didn't he come out of retirement or something for this film?
I mean,
Did I remember that?
he did the Five Bloods not that long ago with
Yeah.
like Spike Lee. That might have been like 5 or 6 years ago. So I don't know. To be fair, I don't think he's taken jobs like two and three times a year. I think he's way more selective now about it, about who he wants to work with. But like, yeah, I believe the last film he did before Sinners was the Five Bloods, which is a Spike Lee joint. So of course, and Delroy and Spike Lee have been working together since like Crooklyn and stuff. So maybe even before that or whatever projects after it. But Delroy's never been nominated. And I thought again in the Five Bloods, he should have been nominated in that for like supporting or something. I thought he was really good in that. So I'm happy to see him here. And I really think it's between Stellan and Delroy. I really hope Delroy wins, but I won't be mad if Stellan wins. Like he deserves to be nominated and win an Oscar as well,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it's fun to talk about our head and heart votes.
Yeah. I mean, because like, yeah, my heart says Delroy. My head says probably Stellan because he won the Golden
Yeah.
Globe. But it'll be really interesting to see who wins the SAG because, like, if I'm being honest, I don't even think for supporting, I don't think Stellan is. I don't think anybody for SAG for Sentimental Value is nominated at all because
Really?
SAG is pretty like American in that sense that not many people internationally get nominated. Not
Are the SAG
many.
noms out yet?
The SAG nominations are, I have some of them at the bottom of our doc. I just have actor and actress, I think, at the bottom of our doc. Um, yeah, we have, so for cast, we have Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and I think Sinners, maybe? Yes.
Ooh, we haven't really talked about cast.
Well,
I just need to see Marty Supreme though. I just need
That's
to.
why that's why I have cast in there because cast just like best produced picture tend is another good indicator of a best picture winner and nominee, because it's the whole cast. In that idea for SAG, the cast winner is kind of like their idea of giving the best picture for the
Mhm.
actors, because it is that whole cast, both, all the leads, all the supporting, everybody in there. But
Yeah.
then for actor, we got, Timmy for Marty Supreme. We got Leo for One Battle. We got Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. We got MBJ for Sinners. And then we had Jesse Flemings for Begonia.
Well, then hopefully he'll win that because he fucking deserves it.
And that's why I want to talk about SAG, because that's what
Yeah.
happened last year. Timmy, your boy,
Me.
our stick of butter, our boy, he when he won the SAG award, and everybody then for the Oscars was like,
Thought he was
Timmy's
gonna.
gonna win.
Yeah.
Timmy's gonna win. And who won? Adrian Brody walks away with his second
Yeah.
Oscar.
I
So
won't share any opinions about Timothy Chalamet until I see Marty Supreme. I'll share personal opinions. I don't like him, but I do
so
want to see the movie. I do want to see the movie. So
so I will say it's another one of those things where like people will say like, oh, he plays a complicated character. I really think he plays a good bad guy. I just don't like like at the end of Marty Supreme, I just kind of walked out. I was like, why am I supposed to root for this guy? Or like, why do I really care about this guy in the end? And that was like a tough one. Whereas a tough sit of a movie that I found to be extremely painful to sit through because I was just uncomfortable the entire time is Rose Byrne in
if I had legs,
if I had legs I'd
okay,
kick
he's
you.
gonna say if I had legs.
Becky, I
um,
watched that. I watched that today. I watched the last
today?
30. I watched the last. I ended the movie at 2:17. I
Oh my
believe.
god.
I believe I sent you our Zoom link at like 2:27. Like,
You didn't even have time to process it.
yes. What do you think I've been doing in my silent moments here when I'm like this or like, uh huh, uh huh? I'm
I
trying to still
after seeing it though, I am super happy she got nominated because I loved seeing her in a role outside of, even though she kicks ass in things like Get Him to the Greek and stuff like that, this role for her was,
completely
I
different.
think, life-changing,
I'm pissed Conan
career-changing.
O'Brien didn't get supporting as well, because this is a role that is a role and a performance I have never seen from
Yeah,
somebody like him before. From him or somebody like him before. And Conan doesn't act that often. He doesn't. He's super selective if he's about to give his talent to
he's
something.
not really an actor though, he's a comedian,
Exactly.
and that's not the
Exactly.
same thing. So I
And
wasn't necessarily shocked he wasn't nominated because it was, like, his first kinda thing, and so I was just like, maybe this'll give him some attention and more roles in the future, but I don't know. The only other nomination I could have potentially seen for this film was original screenplay. Um,
yeah,
that's probably the only other thing that I can think of. But it doesn't make it any less of a good movie. Will I ever watch it again? No, because I'm not gonna put myself through that torment.
shit,
But
right. That was another tough movie
it's
about
a
parents and
conversation starter. Like, I was talking for hours with my sister about it because, like, we were just going back and forth, like, how did you interpret this? How did you interpret this? And the way that the director filmed the movie was absolutely beautiful and made a ton of sense. I had to do a lot of research on it, because again, a lot of it is open to interpretation. Did I find anything out? No, not really, other than it's meant to be open for interpretation based loosely off of her life.
Mhm.
But I would love to hear your perspective on the ending if you've had time to process it,
Well,
like
the
what your
whole
interpretation was.
the
Spoilers.
yeah, right. Spoilers. Um, I guess which part of the I guess which part are you asking me about?
So it seems as though people are divided. A lot of people are like, my initial thought was she had died
Hmm.
and either her daughter had died too, and they had a moment that was too late where that she realized she wanted to be a better mom, better version of herself for her daughter.
Hmm.
And then the other half of people are like, no, she woke up and she finally humanized her daughter, and that's why it finally showed her face, and so she's gonna be better. So I was
Mhm.
like,
So I will say it's very interesting. Yeah, so that was the thing that I had about the entire time of the movie is like, why don't we actually see the daughter's face? Why for me, I was wondering if the daughter was even real and if this woman
"Mm,
was actually it, to be fair,
yeah,
throughout all of it, and because like you get those really spacey kind of like it almost looks like fireflies at certain scenes and stuff in there, and then they've got the globe, the like
yeah,
weird globy like orb thing that you see with the different word. So I honestly thought that maybe this woman was just having a mental breakdown.
yeah."
Like I thought
Her daughter
almost
was already dead. Yeah.
like once we get the introduction of Caroline, I
Mhm.
honestly thought that like are we seeing like a Tyler Durden, the narrator kind of Fight
Uh-huh.
Club thing of them? Is like are they the same person and we're just seeing two like the mind split? And we were just I just thought we were seeing maybe a person in crisis at first.
Yeah.
For a lot of the movie because they do go into those weird trippy things. Now at the at, like when she's pulling out the tube, that was wild.
That
That
reminded me of the scene in The Ugly Stepsister. Like, did you watch The Ugly Stepsister?
not yet.
I won't say anything else then. I had to look away. I was like, "Oh my god." And to me, that started to feel when it was like, "Okay, is this really happening?" Like,
Yeah,
is she having, like, a psychotic break? And, like, did she actually pull the tube out? And that's kind of where I went down a Reddit rabbit hole, and people were like, "So we think her daughter died when she removed the tube, and then she went to go kill herself in the ocean. She was successful. She woke up. That's why we saw her daughter's face because they finally were together."
yeah.
Um
That's
That's
interesting
kind of how
because
I interpreted it, but my sister did not interpret it that way, and apparently a lot of other people didn't either. They're like, "Oh, she finally humanized her, and it took that one moment for her to realize she needed to be a better mom." And I was like, "I don't think I like that," because even though there were moments where I was like, "Damn, could you imagine what she was going through, like, as a mother? Like, her husband traveling all the time, doing all working a full-time job, dealing with other people's trauma on top of her own." Like, I think
I
she was doing
there
her best.
there was um when she has the freak out and she's like, I'm a bad mom. I know I should never have been a mom. I
Mhm.
cannot tell you the like quietness that went over me of like I have said those exact same things to my exact same well not a father but like switch the verbs there by like the adjectives but like I have said I was like I have had that exact same conversation with my therapist like like verbatim so
Yeah.
like I had felt that so deeply in my
Mhm.
soul that it was crazy and so for me like I like the ending is an interesting question. I guess I haven't really thought too much about it because like I do feel like I do think that she was like really trying to like kill herself at the end, but I do think that like part of what I saw there is her lack of control of being able to do that
Yeah.
because despite her trying to throw herself away, she was told she needed to tie a rock around her neck. To be fair, like a few
Yeah.
people say that throughout it and like it's like meant to be a thing. But when she's running to the ocean, she doesn't have anything around her neck. She's
Mhm.
literally just trying to fight the ocean one on one again, and the ocean keeps spitting her out and
Yeah.
throwing her back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and like, again, me being the fucked up, raised Catholic person that I was, I saw her going into the ocean actually as a baptism of her sins. And that's why she's able to see her daughter then. So, like, having kind of one of those, like, aha cleansing moments of like whether it's like she's baptized whether it is a religious thing and she feels baptized and she can now see and she was at first she was blind but now she can see and one of the things she can see is despite having a sick daughter that she doesn't know what to do she doesn't have control over how they get better or if she can get them better she just has to stick with the plan she can now see the beauty in that in the fact that she has a daughter that is there. Now, that's me. I haven't really
Yeah.
thought about it, but my initial thought of her fighting the ocean, getting spit back out, is was like being baptized and the ocean saying no, it's not ready. Like, no, you're
Yeah.
not ready to die yet. So
I
so
love
I
that
do so I
interpretation.
don't think that I don't think that she
Sorry.
died in the ocean. I think there's a real, I mean, again, like I was born and raised Catholic. I was an altar server. Like I went to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. I didn't go to a quote unquote public school until I was in college. Like, religion has just always been a part of me,
Yeah.
and a part of my life. So like, even when I'm not thinking about it, like I wasn't really even thinking about religion in it until I saw her get spit back like 3 times by the ocean. And I was like, oh, like, people will get dunked 3 times, or they'll like sprinkle water on you 3 times during like a baptism or something. And
It's
like,
interesting. Religion never kind of crossed my mind. I can see your perspective of how it's like a cleansing moment, and that
mhm.
could be absolutely religious.
So like, so again, I'm not necessarily saying it is super religious, but I did feel like a
Yeah.
cleanse of something of like, like there was a blockage of her, something surrounding her, an
Yeah.
aura or whatever, and that fight to try, because like I do believe going to the ocean, she is trying to kill herself.
Mhm.
Rose Byrne. I think there's no question about that. I think her actions going there, she wants to kill herself because she is too overwhelmed. And her husband being back is like her way to actually be like, I can leave
Or
now.
exit.
It,
Yeah.
like I can leave now. He's here. Bam! I can finally end it all. But she can't. She still doesn't have that much control of her life, and she gets spit back out. And in that laying of defeat and almost feeling of death, she hear because like it's like it goes black almost at a second, and then it kind of like the light comes back on almost, and then you see the daughter. So I get where people are like, oh no, she died. um she could have drowned right there, I guess, like on the beach or whatever, and it's not like an impossibility, but that is not. Yeah, I felt that cleanse, kind of a rebaptism, a rebirth kind of thing, and that's why I was like, oh, then we see the daughter now, and that was kind of my aspect of it. So
Yeah,
so
I
interesting.
encourage you to do some research, watch some videos on the director and her perspective. She doesn't give straight answers, but she kinda gives a little bit of direction, so we can revisit this conversation because there was a lot of interesting stuff that she shared, so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But that was a movie that, again, excuse me, was another heavy parental movie about kids and like dealing with either loss or control and like just overall well-being and safety and stuff.
Yeah.
And like it I mean, it just shows the idea of like how like of what support really means in a
Mhm.
relationship, and being there for people and for your partner, your significant other, whatever. I don't know. It was a really great movie. Rose Byrne.
Killed it.
It's tough. It's like it's Rose Byrne, it's Jessie Buckley, and I can't think of it, but the woman who plays Nora in Sentimental Value,
Yeah.
without a doubt, like I will riot if one of those three don't win like Best Actress. I mean, I would love the random sweep of Sentimental Value getting her for Best Actress and like Stellan possibly for supporting.
I don't think
I
it'll happen.
don't think it will either. I think everybody
I
loves
mean,
Jess.
Jessie Buckley has been just
She's been killing it.
I
In like she's not. I'm not
Rose
hating on her.
Byrne might shock us. I don't know.
That's a real possibility too. Because
She owned that movie. She was in every single second of that film.
absolutely, and but Rose Byrne has also been crushing it for a long time. You
Yeah,
know, like this is one of those movies where it's like Rose Byrne is in that point in her life where she can really start racking up a lot of nominations and then maybe get a real, not a real win, but get a win in like a
yeah,
couple of years. Or this might be like what starts the train of like maybe her competing like Meryl now,
yeah.
getting a bunch of nominations and winning every couple of years or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Time will tell. Best Actress is probably one of those. I really think it's those three. Jessie Buckley. I think it's Rose Byrne. After seeing If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, I think it's Rose Byrne
Yeah.
by a mile. Like she really got shot up there. And the woman who plays Nora in Sentimental Value. I think those three, without a doubt, have blown me away. My biggest acting snub, though, I think, is Jesse Plemons
Yeah,
not making it.
100%.
I haven't seen Blue Moon, so I can't comment on Ethan Hawke and his snub. All I can say is I love Ethan Hawke. He's been doing just steady, great work
Yeah.
for I don't know, year like 40 years now. So like I hope the dude wins something eventually. He's another one that should like really have at least a statue or two, for being honest.
I mean, it comes out on Valentine's Day on Netflix, so I do look forward to seeing that one as well.
Absolutely. And then so the SAG Awards, though, I will say, I just want to let people know SAG Awards are on March 1st, 2026. The PGA Awards are on February 28th, 2026. So the PGA Awards, always a good indicator for Best Picture. When we get to the SAG Awards, their cast is always a good indicator. Their cast award is always a good indicator for Best Picture. DGA, that's always about the best director. We had that this weekend already. Then we get the WGA on March 8th. Just want to throw that out there. We haven't talked about anything for screenplays. I just want to say this: adapted screenplay, which is where PTA falls, is insane. It's all over the place. There's no way like one year somebody will win the PGA award and then they don't win the Oscar. Most recently was last year's 2025. The Nickel Boys, which is a phenomenal. It's a beautifully written flick, and it was nominated for best adapted screenplay, but it loses to Conclave. Again, a favorite of ours, of one of those that we were like we talked about it. We were like, Conclave just had this pace. It was bam, 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 so good. And then like I think if I remember correctly, you said you flew out of your chair at the end of Conclave
Yeah.
when all was revealed there.
Yeah.
And and to be fair, that's totally legit. It was a great film. So adapted in 2025 did not match up. And that was just last year. 2020 also didn't match up. WGA winner, Borat 2, because it's a sequel. So it can't be an original screenplay because those characters aren't original anymore. They're adapted that way. So sequels are adaptations. Yes, exactly. But the Borat loses the Oscar to the father. Adapted in 2018, the winner for the WGA is Can You Ever Forgive Me? The Oscar winner is my boy Spike Lee for Black Klansman. I mean, again, Spike, another amazing director. That's his first Oscar win. That's his only Oscar win. He's never won an Oscar for director. You're gonna tell me Spike Lee doesn't have a filmography where he deserves a best director Oscar
I
somewhere?
mean,
Like, come on.
it just goes to show what people value in this country, and now things are changing.
Right? I
So,
mean, still, like, for if we're being honest, for best lead actress, as much as I like those nominees that we have, we don't have a a, a minority woman up there.
I did not realize that. And see, that's the thing. These are
We got
things
them
that
for supporting actresses,
yeah.
for
Mhm.
Sinners, and like Tiana Taylor and One Battle After Another. Again, the Oscars. We talked about this last year with Black women specifically.
Yeah.
Halle Berry, the only Black actress to ever win Best Lead Actress Oscar in the entire now 98-year history of the Oscars. But they
I
have
was gonna say,
won,
did Zoe Saldana win? But she's not black.
huh?
Is she black? Is she
Who?
half black? Zoe Saldana?
She won supporting actress, not lead actress.
Oh, she was technically supporting in that?
She was supporting. She won, and again, she considered herself Dominican Republic, or I believe that's the
I
Latino
think it's Latina, but I
Latina.
thought she was
E-
I thought she
but
was part.
either way, Lupita Nyong'o also won for best supporting. The only
Mm,
the only black actress to ever win, and the first black actress to win was um for The Sound of Music. They're made in 1938. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the woman's name right now, and it's really going to be awful. But she won the best. She was the first black woman to win an Oscar, and it was for best supporting actress. Or maybe it was Gone with the Wind in
Right.
19. Not Gone with the Wind 1938. But
Okay,
yeah,
I was gonna say The Sound of Music doesn't have a maid.
no, I'm sorry, Gone with the Wind. That's what it is.
I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
It's I mean, so like I get it's one of those sweeping epics and stuff. There's just like Sound of Music, there's a lot of things in there that you're just kind of like it's questionable.
Mm,
It's just like you can chalk it up to if you want to chalk it up to it was a time. There's also an argument that if it was wrong now, it was wrong then. Like
mhm.
to each their own. I know now when you stream Gone with the Wind, I think on HBO Max or any of the streamers, wherever it lies now, there is a warning about it saying like there are depictions and stuff in here that were like okayed at the time that do not go up to today's standards. So like be prepared or whatever, like watch out,
You
be
also
careful.
have to take that into account, like, not
Yeah,
saying it's okay, but it's an explanation, right? It's
yeah,
it's a story of the times.
absolutely. Um, and then the other DGA adapted thing most recently, because I only went back like I only wanted to go back a few years. So I went back to 2015 for most of this stuff, going up to 2025. Was back in 2016, adapted WGA winner was Arrival, great flick, awesome script, but the Oscar winner was Moonlight for best adapted that year.
Interesting, okay.
And then the only time in the last 11 years that there's been a difference between original screenplay between the WGA and the Oscar was in 2023. The Holdovers won the WGA award, but Anatomy of a Fall won the Oscar.
I never saw Anatomy of a Fall.
Really good. It's a solid script. Holdovers is really great too. So like,
I
I mean,
loved that movie.
those are two really like well written, well scripted like flicks. So like I get the one not like I get that like it was really two of the best scripts that year in for original. But so like when the WGA awards hit on March 8th, like if Sinners wins there, like there's a real good chance. Well, because here's the thing. Sinners can win that original screenplay because it's original screenplay, and PTA can still walk away with adapted because one battle isn't adapted. And they can
Yeah.
both win. Kugler can win original
Watch that
Oscars.
happen. Watch that
Kugler
happen.
Kugler can win original screenplay at the Oscars, and PTA can win best adapted Oscar. Like that's a real world thing. And then, I mean, there's a real world where Sinners wins best picture, Kugler wins best original screenplay, PTA wins best adapted screenplay and best director. There's a real world where that happens that we live in and that happens in.
You know, I wouldn't mind a real exciting Oscars. I wouldn't mind it. Cause yeah, I mean, I I had said this out loud before. I thought the movies last year I liked the movies more last year,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt this year was a little bit more unpredictable
Yep.
because there's a lot of good stuff. So I genuinely don't know, and I have no idea how I'm gonna fill out the bracket because I'm like,
Right. Oh, and that's something fun that we do here now at the Triple C. We started last year. If you anybody who has a smartphone or whatever, there's an ESPN fantasy app. It's a free app. You don't have to pay to download it or anything. But in it, around award season time, after the Oscar noms are out, they do an Oscar. You can make your own Oscar Pick'em League, and that is something that we do now. We invited all the siblings and stuff for that. Everybody in the Triple C, like Colin and Crowley, everybody behind the scenes and stuff. We've all been invited. Everybody's slowly picking their way. I'm literally checking it every day and always switching my picks because I'm neurotic.
yeah, I was gonna do it the other day, but I was like, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
I, truly, once I watched Begonia, like I really felt once I watched Begonia, and I actually watched all of the animated short films that are Oscar nominated. They are all up on YouTube. Everybody at home. So depending on when you watch this, this will definitely be up before the Oscars. Watching it on YouTube, they're all up there. people, what was it? People sharing saliva, or
Exchanging saliva.
people
You watch
exchanging
it?
saliva is a live action short that's also up on YouTube.
Did you watch
Uh,
it?
Yes, I did, and that movie was great. I loved it. It's so weird and wild, and
So weird, but it actually was well shot and
it's
well
beautiful.
acted.
It,
You know? It
it,
was
it, it's absolutely beautiful. It's so interesting about like rebellion and like hidden feelings and stuff, and like it was beautiful. It's black and white, and like it's very stylized and like shot like it's great. I loved it. It was so it's such a weird title and a weird
so
concept,
wacky.
but you know what, like that's the beauty of fucking like films and short films and stuff. Is like you get to do weird and wacky and like wild stuff like that out there, like where like like it's a beautiful way to make a calling card and like be like I can do weird stuff too, like I can do weird
I
original
think it's also
things.
a really great opportunity to make a political statement.
Perfect.
But yes, it was very
uh
entertaining.
you know what, we've been going a little long here. We're gonna wrap up. There is one category though that is a new category completely to the Oscars that I want to talk about, and that is the Oscar for best cast film, for best
New to the
casting.
Oscars?
It's never been here.
Okay.
They're giving a casting Oscar before they give a stunt Oscar, which is kind of crazy because I
Interesting.
think a stunt Oscar should absolutely be added. I'm not, and I want to be very clear. Despite me just saying like they're giving a casting before a stunt, I'm not saying that casting's not important because it's usually casting directors or assistant casting directors and stuff that are seeing the hundreds of thousands of people that they then put like maybe 10 or 20 in front of a director before a director or like the creative team or whatever makes their final casting decision and like maybe go into like chemistry reads and stuff. So it is very important.
So this will be interesting then, especially since it's the first one. There's nothing to go off of. I mean, I guess you could look
Yeah.
at other casting winners at different award shows, but it's
This
considered a
is
whole
tough.
precedent.
Yeah, this is tough. It's totally like it's never happened before. So like I'm really excited to see how how it rolls out. It's another possible win for Sinners. Um,
You know
if
what? If it's not going to take Best Picture, I think it'd be really awesome to see them win Best Cast.
Yeah, I would, and like again, depending on who takes cast at SAG, like there's a good chance now, starting this year, whoever wins the cast SAG award could then end up winning Best Casting Oscar award.
Oscar. Yep.
Like we might start seeing that parallel happen, and that would be interesting and awesome, just all in itself. Another little layer to this.
Yeah.
Um,
Or it can completely throw us for a loop
right.
and it could be completely opposite.
Well, like, and that's very true. But I'm really interested in casting because, like, when we were doing the sibling Scream series, reading all of the books and the commentaries and stuff, like those casting directors, like Catherine Conrad and stuff, like those people were like heavily involved
Mhm.
in the casting of people. Like they would give like the five final people to look to give in front of Wes and like have Wes decide, yeah, we'll give him an audition, or yeah, we'll give him a screen test or whatever, or we'll just hire him right on the spot. It's like crazy how some of that works. Like because again, Matthew Lillard shows up because his girlfriend is auditioning for Scream and he's going to another audition, and the casting director just looks at him and is like, I think I can use you. I'm going to need you to read. And it's like, what?
And it was the
Like,
best that's ever happened.
right? So,
Cinematic history.
so it is one of those things that it's like, yeah, you need an awesome writer, you need an awesome director, you need an awesome producer to get this stuff made. You need the right actor or actress for the role,
Mhm.
and a casting director is a casting, like they're a casting director for a reason, like And I like the idea too of now like kind of highlighting casting because I also feel like there's also been this weird connotation to casting of like the casting couch and like the weird sexual like abuse
Yeah.
that a lot of women have had at a lot of powerful men. Harvey Weinstein, ringing any bells, like things like that. Of like, I think that there's been a lot of negative light on that, and I like the idea of trying to flip it on its head of being
Yeah.
like, no, like fuck that terrible old history. It's awful. Those victims need to be heard, and like it's terrible that happened. But like there are good people, that like a casting director is important to a movie, and they
Yeah.
do help along the way to for all of our favorite films or to get the right person in front of the right director to be it. Like even listening to the Reign of MCU book, like there was a casting director on Guardians who just liked Chris Pratt and was like, I really think he's the right Star Lord. And James Gunn like twice was like, nah, nah. And then Chris Pratt lost some weight. They brought him in for a screen test, and like James Gunn was like, I'm crazy. I don't know why I wasn't listening to you from the get-go on it. And it's like that like that casting director is like quoted in there of like being like, nah, I always kind of knew. I always just kind of knew
Yeah.
that like he just needed to get in front there. That same casting director did the same thing for Dave Batista as well. On that, who I
Talent
love.
I don't have. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at something like Scream though, right? Even though they didn't anticipate this being such a huge film, like that casting is iconic. Taking a bunch of like nobody young adults and turning it into one of the best horror franchises of all time. Insane.
The biggest name at the time is Courtney Cox from
Yeah.
Friends. Nev
Mhm.
Campbell's Party of Five is just starting, so that
Yeah.
doesn't really hit yet. And it's the same thing then when Jennifer Love Hewitt gets cast in I Know What You Did Last Summer, like
Mhm.
also Party of Five alum and stuff. But like, so Party of Five is a little bit longer along for her, and then she gets this horror thing. You also get Sarah Michelle Gellar, who shows up both in Scream 2 and I Know What You Did Last
Yeah.
Summer, and then gets Buffy. Like, man, we were living
Yeah.
in the heyday
We were.
of like women in horror and goth. Like, it's awesome.
And I think that's why I'm super, super happy about Sinners in general getting so many nominations because you can put Sinners would you put Sinners in the horror category?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a vampire flick.
Mhm.
Like full and there's so much other stuff like racially and like
Yeah.
whatnot going in there and of the times there's so much commentary, but like
Yeah.
at its simplest thing, it is a vampire flick.
Yeah.
Like it is a vampire flick that takes place in the Mississippi, like cotton plantation delta, like
Yeah. And I
area.
think last year, we really started to see horror. But like look at Amy Madigan gets nominated. We got a nomination for Ugly Stepsister for makeup. Um that movie will cause nightmares for you. Please watch it. It's so
Yes,
fucking um yeah, so I'm biased and I'm happy to see more horror films being recognized.
me too. Because like I mean, we also had the Substance body horror. That one hair and makeup last year.
Oh, the
Like
number one upset that should have won Best Picture in my mind, but
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, it's still amazing flick,
yeah.
right? Like I mean, nobody's gonna take away from it. Demi Moore gave a performance of a
Oh,
lifetime.
yeah.
Margaret Qualley, in my opinion, gave out the biggest calling card of like, you need to be paying attention to me now, and if you're not, you're missing out. And
Mm.
I find that to be true still. Um, and Coralie, the director, she just makes me just so interested in everything she's going to be doing.
Insane what she was able to do with a smaller budget than some of those films,
And
and
that is the thing that I love that you keep bringing up. And it's one of those things that it's like that I love that they got the Oscar nomination and win last year for it because it like movies like the original Evil Dead that are made for like or Clerks that are made on like credit cards or
Mhm.
or like El Mariachi. Robert Rodriguez locks himself into a medical testing hospital and gets 7 grand from them and then uses that to make his first feature. Like that is what Coraline and like the team behind the substances. They had a little bit more than like 7 grand to work with, like, but like that's still that same indie small budget. We have a finite budget. We have to make this work. So what is the best thing creatively that we can do within this box? And sometimes putting the reins on things like that, you get genius out of it.
Yeah,
And
agreed. It's for
like,
'cause it's for the love of the film. Like, even
mhm,
in Substance, there's some scenes where the director shot herself. Like, it was in some of the scenes, it was her hands.
mhm.
You know, she's like, we couldn't pay Demi Moore to come in for another day to shoot more, you know? So it was like, that's the kind of stuff that I love doing more, research on that a lot of people don't pay attention to. And that's what kind of helps determine my decision on who I think deserves it. Because, yeah, you can say, oh, yeah, One Battle After Another was a great movie, but like, is it just because it's like a well-known director that everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna be good no matter what?" Is it because there's someone like Leonardo DiCaprio in it? Or, did they think creatively and like, have a smaller budget and still turn out? Like, those are the types of things that make me love film so much.
And that is part of the reason why we are called commentary track here, because it is from those commentary tracks and the making ofs and like the research, as you call it, which I love. It just warms my little like stone cold heart here. But like I love the commentary tracks. I love the making ofs because that's how I learned about film. Like aside from just like watching it, but like that's how I learned about the technical making of film. That's how I learned about how to do video podcasting and stuff. Is just listening to like some of my heroes and stuff, like some of the people that inspired me to do it, who were then doing it. And then I was like, I don't know, I think I can do this. And you find your people, and like eventually you get like 170 we're at like 170 plus episodes now of commentary track. Like
Amazing.
it's crazy sometimes to think about. Um, and I just love it. And I love that you were able to join me with this. This is so much fun. We are going to wrap up our Oscar pod for 2026. We will definitely get together to talk about the winners of the Oscars. If we can squeeze in another one in between, maybe. I don't know. We will see. We will see pending schedules, but I won't hold it. I'm not holding anybody to that, but I am definitely excited for Oscars. Remember, the PGAs are on February 28th. The SAG Awards are on March 1st. You'll be able to watch those on Netflix. And then the WGA is on Sunday, March 8th. And then that following Sunday, March 15th, is the big game, the big show, the Oscar night. And for all of us here at the Triple C, Becky, I want to thank you for joining me. It is a pleasure as always. Do you have any final thoughts or comments before we wrap up here?
I don't think so. I promise I'll see Marty Supreme and I will give it a fair evaluation, even though I hate Timothy Chalamet.
Hey, that's all we can ask, right? An honest opinion after an honest viewing. Um, but with that, I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. I want to thank you all for joining us. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. We hope you all stay safe, and we shall see you in the real world.